Okay, so in today's yesterday's class, I introduced the concept of load balancing using pressure line diagram. So what we did, we plotted the pressure line for a straight cable which was concentric with the neutral axis. Then we gave a eccentricity E of x such that E of x is equal to A of x. So in that scenario, what happens is the pressure line coincides with the neutral axis, and the entire beam will be subjected to uniform compression under external load. Okay, so instead of having a sagging curvature, the beam will be compressed and it will have a straight curvature. So the same analysis we can do using another approach. It's called the force approach. Uh, so we'll discuss about it. So we have here a beam, and we have that pre-stressing cable, which is parabola in shape, and we have that external load. It is a uniformly distributed load with Q, intensity Q. So the pre-stressing force is P naught, and we have this angle which the P naught makes with the neutral axis. So that is theta naught at the left edge, and on the right edge we have theta L. Because it's a symmetric loading, we have theta 0 and theta L are equal, and the eccentricity is given as E of x, and the maximum eccentricity will occur at the center span. It is given as E max. And we have denoted the coordinate system here, y x-axis along the neutral axis and y-axis in the upward direction, in the vertically upward direction. So if you do you can calculate the reactions at the support. So this is a distributed load. Total load will be Q into length, so QL. So half of it will go here, half of it will go to the right edge. So we'll have QL by 2 and QL by 2. Okay, so we have done this analysis. We got E of x, eccentricity of the cable, as A of x, which is M of x by P naught. And we found out what is the maximum eccentricity of the cable, and that is moment at the center span by P naught. So moment at the center span for a distributed load is QL square by 8, and we divide it by P naught. So that is the maximum eccentricity. Now we can do the analysis. So by using by considering what are the forces which are coming on this cable. Okay, so when this cable, what happens is you are initially stretching the cable and then you're releasing it. So the cable will try to compress. It will try to come back to its original configuration. So during that process, it will interact with the concrete wherever like along its length. It will interact with the concrete, and there will be some stresses which are produced in the cable. If the cable is straight, then the interaction force, that is a normal reaction which is coming on the cable, will be 0. But if the cable is curved, then there will be some stresses which are produced in the concrete. And we can also have so when the cable is curved, we'll have a distributed force which is coming along the cable, and we want to find what is the distributed load. So another thing we know is the cable is having a uniform strain throughout its length. Okay, along this length, the cable has a uniform strain. So at any point in the cable, the force is P naught, and you can calculate the stress P naught by area of steel. Okay, so along the entire section, the tensile force, for this case, it will go into compression. So it is trying to shrink. So what that force is P naught throughout the cable. There is no loss of pre-stress along this cable elements. Okay. So with that knowledge, we will go and do the analysis. So we will take a small element here, somewhere in the along the profile. We will take a small element, and that element we will analyze it and find out what is the normal forces which are coming on to the cable from the concrete. So that analysis, the free body diagram we are drawing here. So we have that cable element. It is since it is a curved cable, we are plotting it like this, and we have that force which is P naught, on this end, and other side will have the same force P naught, because there is no loss of pre-stress in the cable. Means whatever stress is there here, same stress is transferred toward the cable. Now we can draw a normal at this edge, and that normal is shown here, and we can draw another normal at this edge. Okay, normal means we draw a tangent and then we draw a perpendicular to that tangent, so that is the normal here. And these two normals will intersect at this point. Let's call this point as O, and we can have two coordinates. We can have a coordinate system here, OR and O theta. OR is along the radial, so let's call this radial direction. So OR is radial direction, O theta is the tangential normal to that radial direction. Okay, so we want to find, yeah, so there will be pressure coming from the concrete onto the cable. So that pressure is this N, that is denoted by N, and that pressure is like a stress value. Okay, so when you multiply pressure with that area, we'll get the uh, force. And for this problem, what we are doing is we are assuming we are assuming that thickness is to be like we can say that thickness is 1, and the force will be N times ds. Okay, so N into ds into thickness 1, we'll get N ds. Okay, so this force P naught and this force P naught. So from here, from O, we draw a normal. So we extend this line, and it hits the center. It will join this O with the center of this cable element, and from this we'll draw a normal. Okay, so the total angle subtended by this cable element is delta theta. So the angle between this line and this dashed line is delta theta by 2, and this line and that line is delta theta by 2. So we'll have the angle between this line and this force P naught is delta theta by 2. Similarly, the angle between this line and this force is delta theta by 2. So this analysis is similar to what we had done for belt friction problems. If you remember in engineering mechanics, we had belt friction. So there we did the analysis for a belt cable, and similar analysis we are doing here. Only thing is, in belt friction there is this P naught acting in the opposite direction, and here we have P naught acting towards. Okay. So what we have is we have found the angle which the P naught makes with this line, and here we found what is the angle the P naught makes with this line. So N is perpendicular to this line, so it is oriented along OR direction. So we will find out what are the components of forces in the OR direction. So in the OR direction, we have NDS. So N multiplied by the surface area, NDS. We are taking unit thickness, so NDS into 1, so it will be NDS only. And we have to find the component of this force P naught in the OR direction. So along this direction, it will be P naught cos delta theta by 2. In the OR direction, it will be P naught sin delta theta by 2. Similarly, this force has component P naught sin delta theta by 2 in the OR direction, but it's in the opposite way. So we'll have minus P naught sin delta theta by 2 and minus P naught sin delta theta by 2. And we are taking a very infinitesimally small cable element, so we can approximate sin delta theta by 2 to delta theta by 2. Okay, so we can send these terms to the right hand side. We get NDS is equal to 2 P naught sin delta theta by 2. So we are approximating it because that element is very small, and we'll get delta theta by 2. 2 and 2 will cancel out, and we'll get P delta theta. So this is one relation we have from the force equilibrium in the OR direction. So N times delta ds, N times delta ds is equal to P naught delta theta by 2. Okay, where N is the pressure which is coming on the cable. Yeah. Now we make one more assumption here. So if you look at the cable, the length of the cable maybe length of the beam span maybe like 10 meters like that, and the eccentricities which are provided are usually very less, like around 20 millimeters or 30 millimeters like that. So if you compare, this value will be 10 into 10 into 1000, so 10,000, and this eccentricity will be some 20, 30. So the angles, these angles will be very small, so the slopes will be very, very small, and as a result we can make one more assumption, one more approximation. That approximation is that we'll treat the cables will have very small slopes, and as a result we can approximate delta s to be same as delta x. Okay, and another approximation we can make is delta theta is delta, yeah, this is okay, delta theta is delta y by x, and we will get n dx is equal to p delta theta, and we are taking d theta as delta y by x, so we get n is equal to p d square y by dx. Actually, it should be p d square y by dx square by 1 plus dy by dx whole square whole power 3 by 2. So, but we are neglecting the dy by dx term. Okay, and we are getting n is equal to p d square y by dx square. And this is another relation we get with this approximation, that the cable has very small slope. That means the angles are almost horizontal, but not horizontal perfectly. There is small, very small slopes. So for that scenario, we have n is equal to p d square y by dx square. That means the pressure which is coming onto the cable element is p times the d square y by dx square. That is y represents the cable profile. So it is a parabola. So we'll have to find what is d square by dx square for the parabola. So let's find out what is d square. Let's find the equation for the parabola now. So how do you find the equation for the parabola? We have a equation. So we have the coordinate system at x is equal to 0, y is 0, x is equal to L, y is 0, and x is equal to L by 2. We have y is minus C max. Okay, so we can have y is equal to C1x plus C2x plus C3x square, and then we can substitute those two boundary conditions, and then we can substitute the third condition. We get the three parameters C1, C2, C3. So that I'm directly writing that equation here. So y is equal to minus 4e max x by L into 1 minus x by L. So that is the equation of the parabola. So you can do that algebra and get that this answer, and you can do a check here. So at y is equal to 0, we have x is 0, so this y term will go to 0, and y is equal to L, we have 1 minus x by L, so 1 minus L by L, so 1 minus 1, and this term will go to 0. And at the center, x by L is 1 by 2, so we'll have 1 by 2 into 1 minus 1 by 2, so it will be 1 by 4, and we get y is equal to minus C max. So our coordinate system is like this, y is upward, so y at L by 2 is minus C max, so that is okay. So the check is okay. So 4 is equal to, this is the equation for the parabola. Now we'll find out what is the first, we'll find out what is dy by dx. Okay, so we'll differentiate it with respect to x, and we get 4 e max by L and x minus x square by L. So if you differentiate x, we'll get 1, and if you differentiate x square, we'll get 2x. Okay, so this is the dy by dx, that is a you can say there's a slope of the line, slope of the parabola. So we can find the slope at the 0, x is equal to 0, and the slope at x is equal to L. So if you substitute x is equal to 0 here, we will get simply 4 e max by L, and if you substitute x is equal to L, we will get plus 4 e max by L. And now what we do is, we already found what is Emax according to that this system, that Emax is mx by p naught, so it will be ql square by 8 p naught. Okay, so we substitute ql square by 8 p naught here. Instead of Emax, we write ql square by 8 p naught, and we have 1 by L, and we have 4 there. So we can cancel out L square by L will become L, and 4 by 8 denominator will have 2. So we're getting dy by dx is minus ql by 2 p naught. At x is equal to L, we'll get plus ql by 2 p naught. Okay, so that is okay, because if you see, this is a negative slope here, and here we have a positive slope, and both slopes are equal. Okay, so and since we are approximating theta L and theta naught to be very small, we'll have another thing, which is theta is very much less than 1, and we have sine theta is approximately theta, and that will be equal to dy by dx, and cos theta is approximately 1. So theta naught and theta L will be ql by 2 p naught. Okay, so this is the equation we have here, and with this information we can do some yeah. So next thing we'll do is, we'll differentiate it one more time and find d square y by dx square. So we have here d square y by dx square, and to differentiate it, so we are having here 4 Emax by L into 1 minus 2x by L. If we differentiate it, what will happen? This term will become minus 2 by L. Okay, so minus 2 by L into minus 4 by L, it will be 8 by L square. So plus 8 by L square. So we'll have d square y by dx square is 8 by L square into Emax. And Emax we have found it is QL square by 8 P naught. So 8 and 8 will cancel out, L square will cancel out, we'll get left with Q by P naught. So what we can do, we send that P naught to the left hand side. So we get P naught d square by dx square is Q. And we already have the equation n is equal to P naught d square by dx square. So n is equal to Q. So what we are getting here is something like this. So we have our beam with the neutral axis and the distributed load and the reactions here QL by 2, QL by 2. So we have the pre-stressing strand which is applying at the edge, it is applying that force P naught here, and on that edge it is applying that force P naught. And this is theta naught and this is theta L. So the horizontal component is P naught cos theta naught. And since theta naught is very small, we can approximate it to be P naught. And we have vertical component P naught sin theta naught. And here also we have vertical component P naught sin theta L. So we already found sin theta L is approximated as theta L, and theta L is QL by 2 P naught. That we have done here. We have got this term. Theta naught theta L is QL by 2 P naught. So we substitute that here. So P naught into QL by 2 P naught. So P naught and P naught will cancel out, we'll get QL by 2. And we have already found we found out that the distributed stress which is acting along this cable is N, and N value is equal to Q. So if you see this entire system, so we have at the edge downward force QL by 2 and this horizontal force P naught, and here downward force QL by 2 and this horizontal force P naught. And along the cable we have Q acting in the upward direction. So this QL by 2 is balanced by this QL by 2. And here this QL by 2, which is coming from the cable, is balanced by the support reaction QL by 2. And here, whatever distributed load Q is acting, it is balanced by this N, N acting on that cable. So that Q is balanced. So this entire system is in a state of equilibrium, except that there is this axial force which is acting along the neutral axis, which is compressing the beam. Okay, so the beam will be in a state of compression, but it will be straight. That means it will not bend. Okay, under the when you provide this cable profile like this. Okay, so yeah, the main result from this analysis was that curved cables result in distributed loads, and this is how the load balancing happens in the beam. So we are having this distributed force which is balancing that Q value. So maybe when we do indeterminate structure analysis for these pre-stressed concrete beams, then maybe we have to use this force approach. So whenever you see a curved cable, will have some distributed load, and there is another way the cable can be. It can be like a sharp edges might come. Then we'll have a point load. So that we'll discuss now about point load. Yeah. So I will take a small break, and again I will come back and we'll do the point load analysis. Okay, so let's come back to the point load analysis. This slide is a little hazy. Okay, so we have this beam, neutral axis is here, and there is a point load acting at the center of the beam. That load is acting downward and the force is Q. And to balance this force Q, since it's simply supported, we have half the load here and half the load there. So Q by 2 and Q by 2. The length of the beam is L. And yesterday we had done that analysis. We found that the cable we had to lay out it like in this fashion. And we found that, yeah, the bending moment diagram was a triangular section. So we had to lay out the cable in this way. And we found that eccentricity E of x, which is A of x, which is M of x by P naught. And we can get the Emax value, which occurs at the center. And the bending moment at the center is QL by 4. So Emax will be Mmax by P naught, which is QL by 4 by P naught. Again, we have this cable, this force P naught making an angle theta here, and on the other side also it is making an angle theta. So we can do the analysis. So for this analysis, what we will do, we will do a frame. I think we can do a frame analysis, or we can do it like a truss analysis. I think that's fine, because it's a two-force system. So at point A, so we'll analyze member AC here, and then we'll analyze member CB, and we'll analyze what is the force which should be coming at this joint C. So we can treat it like a truss system. Okay. So this is one truss element, and this is another truss element, and we want to find what is the joint force which is coming at C. Okay. So to do the analysis, so the joint force from concrete, which is coming onto this member, we want to find out. So let's draw the free body diagram for this truss element AC. So we have drawn this, sketched that AC element here, and at A we have that compressive force, so that is P naught acting here. So at C we'll have to balance it, will have a equal and opposite force, so that value is P naught. And similarly for BC, we can sketch the figure here, and at B we have that compressive force P naught, and at C again there is a compressive force P naught. So this system, this truss system is in equilibrium, and this truss element is also in equilibrium. Now at joint C, what is happening? So we sketch that joint, we'll draw that joint C here. So at C, in this truss element, there is this force is acting P naught, and at C, that same force will act towards the joint. Okay, so that is shown here as in this way. And from this truss element, there the force P naught is acting like this on this truss element. So equal opposite force acts on the joint. So that force is shown here like this P naught. So these two forces coming from the truss element are acting towards the joint here. And to balance it, there is a force N acting in the vertically upward direction. So the horizontal components of P naught will be equal, and they're in opposite direction, so they'll balance out. And we want to find what is a vertical component. So we have to find the vertical component, we need to know what this P naught makes with the angle, what angle P naught makes with the horizontal. So that angle is so this angle is theta. So here also it makes angle theta. AC makes an angle theta. So this P naught makes angle theta with the horizontal. So the vertical component will be P naught sine theta. Similarly, vertical component for this force will be P naught sine theta. So with this information, we can do the force equilibrium in the vertical direction at joint C. So sigma Fi is n minus 2 P naught sine theta. So n minus P naught sine theta minus P naught sine theta. So n minus 2 P naught sine theta, and that is equal to 0. So we'll get n is equal to 2 P naught sine theta. Now let's calculate what is the angle theta. And to find that, this angle is theta, and so this angle OAC is also theta. So we can find out what is tan theta. So tan theta will be OC by OA, or we can say tan theta is OC by OB. Here I have written OC by OB. So OC by OB is tan theta. So OC is Emax, and OB is half the span, which is L by 2. So tan theta is equal to Emax by L by 2. And since theta values are very small, we can approximate sin theta is approximately tan theta or theta. Okay, so we will get sin theta is Emax by L by 2, and Emax we have calculated, it is QL by 4 into 1 by P naught. So we get QL by 4 into 1 by P naught, and here L and L will cancel out, and we'll get Q by 2 P naught. Okay, so we can, instead of sin theta, we can substitute Q by 2 P naught. So we'll get 2 P naught into Q by 2 P naught, and we are left with N is equal to Q. So so here in this case, N is the force which is acting at point C, at the joint, or force at point C, and that force value is equal to Q. So if you lay out the cable in this fashion, then what will happen is, at this sharp corner, we are getting a point load, and that point load is acting in the upward direction, and that point load value is plus Q. Okay, it's acting in the upward direction. So with this information, we have found the angle theta. Yeah, the theta angle we can approximate as Q by 2 P naught, and we have found this force at joint C, that is Q. So we can plot the profile here of the point load system. So we have our beam, and we have that cable. At the joint C, we have the force Q acting in the upward direction. And here we have found the theta value, it is Q by 2 P naught. And if you find the horizontal component, it will be P cos theta, vertical component is P sin theta. Since theta is very small, cos theta you can approximate as 1, and P cos theta will be P naught. And vertical component is P naught sin theta. So yeah, P naught sin theta is P into Q by 2P. So P and P will cancel out, we will get Q by 2. So vertical component here Q by 2, and here it is Q by 2. Horizontal component P naught, and here it is P naught. And at the point C, at that sharp corner, we have that vertical force Q. So if you see this system, and at this edge we have Q by 2, which is balanced by this reaction Q by 2, and here at this edge we have Q by 2, which is balanced by this reaction Q by 2, and at this center we have that vertical force acting downward, which is balanced by this reaction from the concrete onto the joint there. And so the system is in a state of vertical equilibrium, and horizontally what is happening, we are having a compressive force. Yeah, it is also in a state of horizontal equilibrium, and it is being compressed. Okay, so there will be shortening of the column, but there will be no deflection in the column. Okay, there will be no sagging due to this point, because this pre-stressing force is balancing all this beam. Okay, so this is another way to look at this problem using the force approach. And we can, when we do indeterminate structure analysis, indeterminate analysis for this like continuous beam, in that scenario we will have to probably use the force approach. One way to do it is using the force approach. So hopefully we'll discuss that sometime in this course. And yeah, so you can keep this concept in your mind. And yeah, so the main thing is that sharp angles in a cable introduce this concentrated loads, and the curved cables will introduce distributed loads, and we can find out what are those forces through this analysis. And another analysis we'll do is for two symmetric loads. So this problem also we did yesterday, and we have load Q acting symmetrically, and this distance is B, and this distance of the right edge from the point load Q is B. So we have to lay out the cable profile in this way. It is similar to that bending moment diagram, but it is reversed. So that eccentricity E of x is A of x, which is M of x by P naught. And what is the maximum value for eccentricity? We have to find the maximum bending moment, which is Q times P. So maximum bending moment by P naught, so it will be QB by P naught. So we want to find what is tan theta. So to find tan theta, it will be PC by PA, because this angle is theta, so PAC will be theta. So tan theta is PC by PA. So PC is Emax, and PA value is B. So we get tan theta is Emax by B. And if you substitute Emax as QB by P naught, so QB by P naught by B, it will be Q by P naught. So tan theta is Q by P naught. And we can find, since the slopes are very small, theta is very much less than 1, and we get sin theta is approximately tan theta, which is Q by P naught. Okay, so with this information, we'll do the analysis for this cable. So again, we'll do a analysis like a truss element. So AC will be a truss element, and similarly BD will be a truss element. Okay, and CD also, CD, yeah, it is, you can treat it like a, we'll do the analysis for CD. Okay, it's not exactly truss, I think. Yeah, so for AC, there is this force P naught which is compressing it, and equal opposite force will balance that. And for BD also we have the force compressing it, equal opposite force will balance it. And for CD, at this sharp corner C and its sharp corner D, we have two reactions coming from the concrete. So NC and ND here, and we have the P naught reaction acting from towards the joint C, and here the P naught reaction acting towards joint D. So we can do the force equilibrium for CD in the vertical direction. Horizontal direction, the P naught cos theta and P naught cos theta will balance out. In vertical direction, we have P naught sin theta and P naught sin theta. So this is symmetry is there. So we have NC is equal to ND is equal to P naught sin theta. Okay, and we get, it has a calculated sin theta, which is Q by P naught. So P naught into Q by P naught, we will get Q. So NC and ND both are equal to Q. So we can use, so we have found the angle theta, which is Q by P naught, and we have found the reaction, we have found the forces coming at the sharp corner C and D. So that force is Q and this force is Q. So we are seeing that we can plot that information here. So we have this beam, we have the neutral axis, we have that pre-stressing cable, and the pre-stressing force P naught. And at C, yeah, we have that point loads and the reactions Q and Q. At C and D, we are plotting, we are having that forces Q and Q. And P naught will have horizontal component P cos theta, vertical component P sin theta. And sin theta is Q by P naught. So P naught will cancel, we get Q. So at the left edge, in the vertical direction, we have Q downward and the support reaction Q upward. So both are balancing here. Right edge, we have Q downward and this support reaction Q upward. So both are balancing. And at C, or along this cross section, we have Q downward and this sharp corner we have the Q upward. It balances. And in this section we have Q downward external load and this sharp corner Q upward from the concrete. Its entire thing is in balance. And only thing, the horizontal components are balancing each other, but this concrete, this beam will be in a state of compression. Okay. And under the action of these external loads, but it will still be straight. It will not sag because we have these cable forces. Okay. So this is the force approach to do this analysis. Now we'll do a very simple example. So we have a rectangular beam with some dimensions 150, 300, and pre-stressing force is given as 500 kilonewton. And maximum pre-stress allowed is 500 millimeters. Maximum eccentricity allowed with respect to the neutral axis 50 millimeters. So point load is acting at the center, and we are asked to find what is the Q value and how do you lay out the cable. So one thing is the pressure line approach is there, and the other one is a force approach. If you do the force approach, you have to you lay out a cable like this. Okay. And what you should do, you have to find what is the Q which this system can take. Okay, so we have the Q here, and so at the sharp corner we have to balance it. There will be Q value here, and we have P naught. The component is P naught sin theta. So this P naught sin theta should balance this Q by 2. So we have our equation Q by 2 is equal to P naught sin theta, and theta value is 50 millimeters by 5 meters. So 50 by 5000. So it is coming around 1 by 100. It is coming around 0.01. So Q will be 2 into 500 into 0.01. We are getting around 1000 into 0.01 is 10. So the system can balance a load of 10 kilonewton. So another approach is the pressure line approach. So we know Emax is given as 50 millimeters, and we know the maximum bending moment occurs here, that is QL by 4. So Emax and maximum bending moment are related by this equation. Emax is equal to QL by 4 by P naught. Okay. So Emax is 50. So we can find the value for Q. So length is 10 meters. So 10 into 1000. and P is 500 kilonewton. So we can send everything there to the right hand side, left hand side. We get 4 into 500 into 50 by 1000, 10,000. So again we'll get the same answer, 10 kilonewton. So this problem we can do either using the force approach or the pressure line approach. You can determine the Q value. Okay. So yeah, so we'll bring the class to an end, and